Okay, so you are trying to write this expression. The error we have written here is at the rate is iterating each JSON object which is present inside an array. So inside the JSON object, if you want to traverse, you need to use dot. So at the rate implies each JSON object. So one JSON object one time and the other time other JSON object. But if you want to traverse inside the particular JSON object, you need to use dot. So at the rate array implies each element when it is iterating, and inside that element you want to check id whose value double equals to 3 and you want to get that object. Alright, so that is the mistake we have written. See here, this particular object is printed, right? So you have retrieved a JSON object from a JSON array whose ID is 3 directly. Okay, you got that object, but again in this object you want to get the name of the object. Not the entire object is not needed. You just need a name. Then dot name. Okay. See the name here. You got the name, right? So now we'll make this little more complex. So you need an ID, fine, but you want to see the color of the particular or capacity of the particular, let us say color of the particular mobile. Okay, so then you need to, so until here you filtered the JSON array, you are arrived at the object that is needed. Then in that object you want to go to one level down, data, and again one more level down, color. Okay, character runner. So you have these values, right? So similarly, this is the most complex JSON path that you will ever write. So if you understand this clearly, then all other JSON paths are very simple. So I'll repeat this one more time. We have taken an array of JSON array of objects. So you want to find one JSON object whose ID is 3. So until here we arrived at that object. So inside that object dot. If you want to go inside, then one level down you need to use dot data, then one level down dot color. So you can use this. Similarly, there will be one more expression. We'll try to. So let me copy this. Let us remove the ID field. So before using the ID field as a primary key, you want to investigate or you want to find out that if the ID field is present for all the JSON objects or not, right? So let us retrieve get response dot. You are inside the JSON and you want to filter the results, so use question mark, and inside the parenthesis you need to write your expression at the rate dot ID. You don't have to specify anything. You are trying to filter the JSON objects which has ID element in it. So let us print this. Print x3. Yeah. So this expression, what we are trying to do, we want to print all the elements which has ID. So ID3 is printed, ID2 is printed, ID1 is printed. And if you carefully observe, this particular JSON object is not printed. So that way you can filter the results also. Okay. you want to see all the products, all the mobile names here. So Google Pixel is there, iPhone is there, iPhone 10 mini is there, iPhone 12 Pro Max. So this is an array of JSON objects, but your interest is not to verify the entire object. You just want to verify if group of mobiles are coming inside the JSON or not. So you need to retrieve only the name JSON element from this JSON array. So then you can write the XPath or JSON path like this. Define x4 equals to get response dollar. So we have entered inside the JSON array. Now you need to query it. So what you need to query? There is nothing to query, right? So you want to get all the records, all the JSON objects, not one JSON object. So in that case, there is something called asterisk. So when you say asterisk, it means that iterate every JSON object present inside the JSON array. I want every JSON object, but I don't want the entire JSON object. I need only name field. Correct? So this will give you a list of name values from the JSON input. Right, let us see. Then print x4. So let us comment all this. See, in the output you observe that only the names are printed. So this way you can retrieve a particular field value for all the JSON objects which is present inside the array. Okay, so this looks a bit complex for the first time, but when you practice this it will be very easy. And Karate uses JSON JWay JSON path. It's a separate package, JSON JWay path. If you have experience in REST Assured also uses its basic package of REST Assured actually. So REST Assured was initially called as JWay. So that JWay JSON path was developed for REST Assured. That uses the JSON path. So the path we are defining here. So this is basically from the JWay JSON from the REST Assured, but Karate uses its features here. So this is for the JSON array. So a quick recap. So we have taken an array of JSON objects. In that we have seen how to retrieve a particular value by indexing directly, and we also have seen a JSON path in order to retrieve a particular element of a particular object, how you can do by using the filter. And also we have seen to pull all the JSON objects which has a particular key. So that way you can count the keys which count the JSON objects which do not have that key also. So either ways, positive and negative case. So you can use however you want to. And also we want to get a particular element from all the JSON objects. So then you can use this JSON path. So this is a complex. So now let us see even more complex JSON. Let us examine the JSON file first. So this is the JSON file. So I'll simply write the JSON path here. So this is the simple JSON path. Let me write here. So my expression will be something like, I'll just write the JSON path. I don't write the entire query. Get from the response dollar. So I have entered inside this particular JSON. Then let us take the requirement as, so this is again a JSON array, right? So it contains JSON objects. So this is the JSON object, correct? So let us take the JSON object. Okay, we want to retrieve the circuit ID of a particular race whose round is number 1. Got it? Let me repeat it. We want to retrieve the circuit ID. This value we want to retrieve. So the primary key I identified here is round 1. If you see another JSON object present in the array, round 2. This is the primary key. Okay. So identifying the primary key is the first step. So I have identified it. My ask is to retrieve the circuit ID for this particular JSON object and inside an array. This is inside an array. Okay. So until here I'll reach first. So dollar I have entered, I reached here. Then mr data, my parent, dollar dot mr data dot. So I have reached until here inside. Then this is present inside this races JSON array is present inside the race table, right? So race table dot. So when I enter dot, I have reached here inside this races key. So I'll use the races key, and here it is a JSON array. So I'll use it, and I want to filter the results. So I'll use the question mark, and the expression I will write in parenthesis. So in the parenthesis, I want to pull the JSON object whose round is 1. So this is the primary key. Remember, we have identified. So I'll use this primary key. At the rate is basically each JSON object inside the array you are trying to iterate, and that is stored inside this particular at the rate. Assume that way. Okay. At the rate dot. So you transferred, when you say dot, you entered inside the JSON object inside the JSON array. Dot, okay, round is our primary key, right? Dot round double equals to 1. So until here we have identified the JSON object based on the filter criteria we have entered. So when you give dot, we have entered inside this particular JSON object inside the array. So here you want the circuit ID, right? So again here if you see here, this is again a JSON object, right? So again enter circuit ID dot, circuit dot. So inside the circuit I have entered. So here I need to get the circuit ID. Control C, Control V, right? So this is my path in order to retrieve that. Okay, if you wanna see it, then let me print this also. When define response equals to, but remember, as I mentioned, if the JSON is pretty huge like this one, you don't generally copy it and use it. You need to put it in a file and use it. But for now, let me paste it. Okay, so it is pasted. I'm removing the comment here. Define and define some x5 equals to, this is my value. Okay, so response is the variable, right? So we have given response only. Yeah, we have given response variable. So let us print this. Okay, then print x5. Hope it will not throw any error. It did not. See, it retrieved Galvez. So let us identify if that is the correct one. See, circuit ID Galvez is printed, right? So the basic path in JSON, the basic formula for any JSON file to traverse and get the thing is JSON path. So JSON path, you practice with multiple JSONs and you can figure it out how to retrieve the value. So this curly braces encloses this particular value, correct? So brackets, indentation, square brackets. If you try to carefully follow in a JSON, you will be able to figure it out how you can retrieve a particular value from a JSON. So we have seen a simple JSON array, complex JSON array, moderate JSON, complex and even more complex JSONs.